So what's your name?
Arthur Poland, Sr.
And you were raised where?
On Huddle Road, New Harbor, Maine.
And you were born what year?
1939.
39. And who were your mother and father?
Edith and Orrin Poland. They called my father Pop. My grandmother, on my mother's side, was Mary Sherman. Her husband, they used to call him Dynamite Sherman anyway, because he dug wells. My other grandmother was Viola Poland and Alpheus Poland, and they lived on Marsh Island. And my great-grandmother was Bessie Morton. Eldridge, that's right. Yes, she went blind, one eye, but she would walk up to New Harbor Hill all by herself, get a few groceries. One time, back there, Sam Morton, their son, made quite a lot of money catching sardines, and he bought him a trailer and sent him off to Arizona. On the way back, the trailer somehow got dislodged and off over a bridge.
Oh, no.
They got it back, continued on their way. Where did they live? Okay, you know where Ab Gilbert lived? And right in front of it, there was a small house. And that's where my great-grandmother lived. And I think when they passed, I think Ab bought that. Ab Gilbert bought it and rebuilt the wharf.
That was in New Harbor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I went to school, Mavusham Grammar School, on the hill where the new firehouse is right now.
Okay.
I was living on Huddle Road, right across from
House?
Garden Gear.
Yeah. So you walked to school every day.
Oh yes. I remember walking out through the woods. Of course there were cobwebs, and we'd get one of those big ferns, and we put that in front of us. So we wouldn't run into those cobwebs going out through the woods.
Wow.
Oh, my teachers, Elizabeth Hanna, Josephine Miller, Helen Lane.
So how long did you go there?
8th grade.
And Bristol High School was already up
Yep.
the ways. So you have to walk up that way too?
No, we had a bus,
Oh.
small one. John Hall drove it. I don't know, hell, maybe 6, 7, 8 people, I don't remember.
Yeah.
And he used to drive that. And Lawrence Lane and I would walk, and usually one of the teachers at Lois for somebody to come along, pick us up, take us up. Albert Barlow, he came from East Booth Bay, and he'd come across by boat every day.
Oh, really?
Yep. And he was the industrial art teacher. Yep, and Ed Lois would pick him up
Oh.
and bring him up to school. Well, we grew up very poor, I can tell you that. There was 4 of us boys and 2 girls. We didn't have much heat in that house back then. So we were all sleeping upstairs in that little attic. You wake up in the morning and be frosted on the nails. And when you get up, you weren't long getting down over them stairs trying to get warm. But we never starved to death. Well, sometimes we thought we might, but we didn't. Stuart was the last one to be born. By that time, Fred and Ellen had left home.
Okay.
Oh, I remember, as I said before, when the war got over, I might have been 4 or 5. And my grandmother, Mary Sherman, she was out washing clothes on scrub board. And I remember them going by towing that tide old sign. Bangity bang, 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 bang. Blowing the horn. But it's all I remember. And I remember my father coming home. I don't remember him leaving when he went to North. I remember him coming home. But that's about the only thing I remember about that. I remember one time, I wasn't very old. Oh, we had a terrible snowstorm. And let me see now. Mel Lewis had a store down the beach. And he had a post office there too. I have a I ever run the post office at that time. Oh, we had a wicked snowstorm. And so my father and I started walking. And I remember drifts, I know they're 9, 10 feet high.
Wow.
And you'd walk up over the top of them, down to the store. Don't ask me what we got down there for, so I don't remember. And Gert Lewis, she had a little store right there on the Huddle Road. Oh, just down below us. And she sold a few canned goods. And we'd go down there and get a few canned goods. If we didn't have money enough, we'd charge it.
Yeah.
Eventually she got paid. Fred, Ellen, me, Bucky, Mary, and Stuart. The biggest problem we had growing up was getting enough money to do something. Go roller skating or go to the movies. I know I did a lot of things I never got paid for, but I remember Alan Cheney's father was buying fish on the wharf, Duplessis Wharf. I used to go there and help sort the fish out. I had a hard job knowing what the difference between a haddock and a hake. And then Paul Riley bought fish, and I used to go up there and help him. At one time, I was probably 14 this time. A fellow from Westport was buying fish off Duplessis Wharf. So they had a bunch of butterfish over in Westport on the beach. I must have been 15 anyway. So they brought those butterfish up in barrels. And he and I would pick them up, put them on top of that truck, and ice them in. Oh, it was a tough job.
Yeah.
And then we'd go to Boston and take them out. But you know, even back then, you had to have a market in Boston or you couldn't sell your fish.
Oh.
If you didn't have a market, don't go in, because you wouldn't get rid of them. All we'd do, pick blueberries, do chores for other people, anything to make $1. Oh, $1.50 cents. My father had a crosscut saw. I had a wooden wheelbarrow. When I went out in the woods, and I worked till I got enough trees, logs, to make a 4x8 cord of wood. I cut them and wheel them out on a wheelbarrow, one piece at a time. And finally I called Wilder Fawcett up. He came up, measured them up, paid me. Don't know how much he paid me though, wasn't much, that's for sure. But that's another way that I made some money, which was, I didn't know who wood I was cutting. I think it may have belonged to Manly Gilbert. Oh, we used to go, awful good time, ice skating. Oh, we'd be there every night. And I remember Dougie Brackett had a sailboat they built. And he'd go up across that ice. My goodness, I don't know how fast he was going. But we'd build a big bonfire almost every single night we'd play. And in the daytime, of course, we'd play hockey with tin cans. And we'd cut a cherry tree that had a crook in it. And that was a hockey stick.
Oh.
Stan Tookie, he cut he built an ice house that one time. And we cut ice.
Oh.
And then, again, probably when I was 15 in high school, Stan had a contract to sand roads. I remember Craig, Dookie, Lee Elliott, we'd get up and we'd go up and we'd shovel the back of that truck full of sand. And down we'd go. Just sand the corners in the hill. I remember very clearly going down Lehman's Hill. That's on the south side of New Harbor.
Okay.
He'd start backing down and we'd start shoveling sand just as fast as we could shovel it to get down that hill. But we only sanded the corners. We never sanded any other. No, well, we used to sand the hill down on Huddle Road. I don't know what to call that. There's a name for that hill anyway. Just before you get down to the turn.
Right.
We'd sand that one. Other than that, we'd just sprinkle some sand around.
Yeah.
I wanted a bicycle. Because they weren't very big. So finally I got bicycle pieced together, dump and so forth. But of course I couldn't get over the top of it, sadly, because I wasn't tall enough. So I put one leg inside of it, the bars, and pedal it. Oh, I could go like a son of a gun. David McLean and I, and Harry would drive us around. We'd be in the back of the truck, and we'd pick up bottles everywhere. And take them back. Oh, we had a whole bunch of them back to the Harry's workshop. Somebody stole them. Well, I think, I'm not sure, but I think they figured out who did it. What happened, I don't know. Too far back for me to remember.
Yeah.
Oh, Carol Watt and I, we used to get in a punt. We'd row out Little Island, 13, 14. We'd haul some traps, some shot lobsters. And we'd have a bucket, and we'd get a fire going. And we'd cook them lobsters. Half the time we had them raw. And of course, Carol, I'm going to see how close I can get to the water. Well, pretty soon one of them waves picked him up and drove him on the rock. Took a hunk out of his knee that big. Oh. And another time we'd go out, row out to the bellboy. No life jackets, no nothing. Get on that bellboy and ride it. Wonder we didn't drown.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, but we were both good swimmers.
Yeah.
I could swim a long way back then.
So what did your father do for work?
He was a fisherman.
A fisherman.
You know, stop there. I remember the last time I was with him, we shot off some fish, herring up on Loud's Island. Up the harbor anyway, going up in Loud's Island. Had nice shot off fish. Had pocket out and everything. Had a storm, hurricane come up. With nothing left. It was all in on the shore.
Oh.
That was the end of it.
So
John Toft out of Portland, he was a sardine man, and he backed my father. My father's boat was the Green Hornet. I really don't know where he was raised. You know, I presume, you know, he was born on Morris Island, and we grew up there, must have come ashore, go to school.
Right.
So I don't know. I remember my grandmother, Poland, coming ashore, and every time you saw her, she had these black boots on. No matter where you saw her, she had black boots on. And my grandfather, he'd have his hip boots on. And I always thought she was an Indian.
Really?
Because she was so dark, being out there on the island, on the light, in the sun a lot. And she always had hair in braids tied up. I didn't see them that often. Once in a while, we'd go up, there might be 15 of us grandkids up there. And she'd be cooking flapjacks. Of course, there wasn't much room in that house, but we all found room to sit down and have flapjacks.
Wow.
I think, and I'm not sure, but I think they squatted on that island.
Oh.
And that's how they become owners of where they were. Well, I guess my father, he quit working about when he was 65. Arthritis, you know, in his hands and everything. Because he went lobstering after that.
Lobsters out of New Harbor?
Yep. Oh, golly, we played baseball all summer long. All summer. Down Handers Field. And as we called your mother, used to play with us, Sandra. Oh boy, she was a good player. She was probably good as any of us boys were, if not better. We had probably 8, 9 of us would play. Oh, we always had it. All summer long we played baseball. Of course, roller skating.
Oh, yeah.
I'd go roller skating 3 times a week. I put on the skate for the kids to come, and Bucky Lewis would let me skate for free.
Oh.
Now I'm probably getting ahead of my story. I was in the Army in 1960, 63. I think 1961, we had a terrible storm and undertow come in and lifted that roller skating rink up, and when she come down, nothing left. And I had my roller skates in there then. At the time I was able to get a new pair. Of course, that went stormed, I guess.
Yeah.
That was so sad.
It had to be sad.
That was so sad. We had so much fun down there. I knew every kid there ever was, every summer kid ever come. I knew all of them. Bunch of good kids too. Greg Glaze, Skip Workman. Oh, there's a bunch of them. Oh, I guess I was 8, 9 years old. I was down playing with Al and Lawrence. And I was out in front of a car, and that car hit me in the hip. Well, knocked one of my shoes off, moved way down where the outhouse was.
Holy cow.
But didn't hurt me any.
You were tough.
On another time I was coming up New Harbor Hill, after the furnace was coming up. And I run into her. And they just cut steaks. The state had. They was still sticking up like that. I went off the handlebars. When I landed, I happened to land in a clear spot. Oh, that didn't hit me either, I guess. I was forever getting hit, accident of some kind. We were putting bricks in the cellar. One of them bricks come up, struck me right there on the head. Oh. We went up to see Dr. Fuller, and he stitched me up. Golly, didn't that bleed. Oh, probably that's what's wrong with me now.
Could be.
I graduated in 1957.
That was a good year.
Yep. And I have a son, Clyde. I think he's 56. From my first encounter with a lady. Now, we were married for 4 years. Well, she was young, I was young. Things just didn't work out.
Yeah.
But I've always had a very good relationship with him. Always. A very good boy. I remember his mother wanted me to let the husband and her to adopt him. I said, no. I says, if he ever gets ready to change his name, if he ever wants to, that's fine. But until then, no, he's going to keep my name. Well, she says, you won't have to pay in child support. I don't care. Oh, many years after that, he came up to me and said, Dad, you know, I'm so proud of you not to let them change my name. Oh, that made me feel so good.
Yeah, I bet it did.
I liked high school. I liked sport. Baseball. I was a good baseball player. I could get up. I was kind of a show-off. I'm going to hit that ball there. I'm going to hit that ball there. I could do it.
Wow.
I could do it. Or I could bunt. And I could run. Oh, golly, couldn't I run. And we won 1956. We won the Western Maine Championship.
Oh.
We played up in the Millionaires Field in Augusta. I remember Jackie Brackett had a home run.
Oh.
But that was a great accomplishment for a small school.
Yeah, I bet it was.
I remember when the Kennedys came, Frank Sinatra was out in his boat.
Really, Frank Sinatra?
Yeah, and I don't know which one of the Kennedy boys, but his son lost his leg to cancer.
Oh, yeah.
And he was there rolling around in the gut. And I don't remember which one it was.
Teddy, I think it was Teddy.
Yep. Well, anyway, he was in Frank Fern's store. And I remember Linda Kelsey said, I'm going to get his autograph. I said, oh, don't bother him. Then she went. Yep. He gave it to her.
Really?
Yep. They were nice people that came down there.
Yeah.
They were nice people. I think I was 20 years old when I went to the Army. Of course, before that, I worked for Connie Munsey. He was an electrician. Owned his wife and him owned the Munsey house on New Albert Hill.
Yeah.
And he was an electrician. And he would send me out to do small jobs, you know. But I didn't get much work. And then I worked for Carol Bell. And we did a job so we went up and did a job for George Martin. The wall up, mud and all that stuff, you know. Carol said never paid him. Needless to say, I didn't get paid either. But then again, I worked for Ed Loy's. One particular job, picket fence. I know that picket fence was 90 feet long. I didn't think I would ever get it scraped and painted. I did about everything you can think of.
Yeah.
I worked in a fiberglass factory in Wiscasset, where the airport is now. And we built jet boats. Had V8 engines in them.
Wow.
I don't know what happened to that company, but it didn't pan out anyway. But those boats were some fun to ride in.
But they were.
Oh. We got back narrows and that tide was running up right awful hard. I mean, ripping. And we get right in the middle of those narrows and put that thing in reverse, spin around and come back up again. And there was old Bristol days one time in it. And I was standing on the back of her, and he spun her around over I went.
Holy moly.
There wasn't much work around back then.
No.
That's when I decided to go in the Army. Because I knew my son would get $90 every month, allotment. And he did. I don't know what she did with it, but anyway, he got it. Because I was only getting $90 too. 1960.
60.
I got out in 63. Yeah, I was in communications. We'd set up, if a battalion went in the field, we'd go out and set up all communication for them with a carrier and a radio. And we would transmit that through the air to the next tower, down to the carrier. And then they'd take the wires and lead them out to command centers. That was a very interesting job, but it was boring. Because all we had to do was set those deuce and a half trucks in the back and sit there. And we'd monitor the channels once in a while, make sure they worked. I remember the Captain Herb. He came in my hut one night, and we worked all night trying to teletype and receive at the same time. And we finally got it. All night long getting it. He got killed in Vietnam. One friend, Don Walker from Minnesota, I've been seeing him for the last 20 years in Florida.
Really?
I was in Fort Dix, New Jersey. Okay. And then I went to Fort Gordon for school. I went from there to Oklahoma. I can't remember which first, Cuban crisis or the Berlin Wall. But anyway, we left, we left Fort Carson, Colorado. Of course, we didn't want a gear. We didn't know where we were going. We had to convoy our trucks down to Kansas because we couldn't, they were so heavy in the planes they couldn't get them off. And here we are with wool pants and pile gear on. When we landed, it was Opelika, Florida. harder than old blue.
Oh, no.
We wasn't down there very long. When we was on guard duty, we had orders. If someone comes through that gate and give the password, you shoot them. And one guy got shot. I don't recall. I think he come back and he was probably loop-de-loop and he didn't remember the password. And he got shot. You know, we were close to a nuclear war back then. That's when John Kennedy said, Khrushchev, you will get those missiles off that island. And he did. Berlin crisis come up. We all transported up to Virginia and got on boats. And we landed in Cherbourg. Cherbourg, Germany, France, whatever. We went from there down to England, living in tents, etc. Couldn't go downtown. There was something going on, gendarmes down there had machine guns. So you can't go downtown. Well, from there, we went to Quatrepool, France. And that was a hospital. Quatrepool was a hospital. And we was only over there 10 months and 13 days. But I had a good time. Them French people made good wine and good bread. And first sergeant called me in. He said, I want you to go to NCO school. I said, will I transfer back with this outfit? He said, no. I said, well, I guess I don't want to go. And we boarded ship and come back and landed in Virginia. I suppose it was Norfolk. Some guys went home, some guys, which I call, got on the buses, went back to Fort Carson. Yeah, I came home then, and there wasn't much work here. I ended up going to Massachusetts and lived with Billy Chase. He got me a job at the shoe factory. Well, lo and behold, got blood poison there too. So then I went out to GMC plant, making cars. And the foreman said, I've been trying to replace this guy for a long time, and I think you can do it. Well, I said, we'll find out, won't we? Of course, when the car come down the track, we look at the window and see what we had to do. Had to put a toll plate in, shifting lever, or the wires, etc. And you lay it on your side, and you walk on the side of your feet like this. I did that for a week. And I went back, and I said, look, I'm young, but I will not do this kind of work. Like I said, I'm black and blue from one end to the other. Goodbye. That was the end of me there. Then I went to work for Gable Electronics. We were doing radar disc at that time, big ones. And there was fiberglass. And you had to scrape them down like this with these small spatulas to get all the air out. Well, that didn't last long either. So I came back to Maine. I worked in the Barry's nursing home off and on for about 8 years. That was my oldest son's mother. I went to work for Vast at that time. I had that research station on South Bristol, big tower, was testing sonar buoys. And I went to work for there as cook. And then after a while I went on deck. About a year later, Albert Thorpe come see me. He said, Arthur, you want to go fishing with me? Sure. Shannon Gilbert was with her. Had a Eastern rig. I remember the first trip out. We hung her up. You'd have to know Albert. He says, you take that wires and you rack them right around that stern post. She could either come free or she'll rip the stern post right out of her. She come free, but what nothing there when we hauled her back. Shut the doors. So we went into Boothby Harbor. A good friend of his had a net. Back we went. And this was in the summertime, mind you, on Jeffries catching shrimp.
Wow.
They talk about warm water, and the water was warm. You'd haul back sometimes, and you'd have 2,000 little tiny shrimp. Dump them. And you'd chef till you found good shrimp. And you'd probably catch 2,000 whiting. You had to cut the bag, zip it, try to float those out. And then he decided to have a new boat built. I think she was 70 feet, Amy Jo, Harvey Gammy's builder. Well, he went to Harvey first. He said, Harvey, I got to have a new boat. Well, Harvey said, I think I can get you one. Harvey knew how to go through the government. So he built this boat. Rugged boat. But I remember one time, he had the best electronics to get the water to put that boat. We were fishing down a boy hole. Albert says there's not a shrimp here. Nothing. I said, Albert, you might as well look up in the air. Let's look at that equipment. Bull. We hauled back. It was all broke. We hauled back. With 5,000 pounds of shrimp. Golly knows how many pounds of codfish we had.
Really?
Yep. I said, Albert, what did I tell you? You can't see those shrimp. At times you could see them once in a while in John Bay. We were towing, and they come up in the water in a bunch. Albert said, oh, the shrimp. And he watched them on the meter. And they went on the other side, Mark Libby's side. And when they went down, we sat on them. We hauled back at 5,000. That's the only time I ever remember seeing shrimp at school. But I think Carl Gatton and Abby Gilbert made a set one time they thought was herring, and that was shrimp. It's the only two times I ever remember it happening. One night, we'd been out partying, come with the boat. Albert said, you take her. I'd never taken the boat before. Of course, I'd watched it many, many times. I said, okay, Captain. If I haul back, we don't have anything. Well, go ahead. I towed down the bag to Ramon Light, just a pair between two thumb caps. Then I went to the rusted and hauled back, back up the bag. We hauled her back. She had a good rip in her. But we had 3,000 pounds of shrimp. Of course, we laced her right back up, and away we went again. Albert was tough on the boat. One time we was towing up by Point Lake Boy, and he hung her up. We had 1,200-pound doors on them. Couldn't break her. So he said to Shannon, come on up here. He said, Powerhouse. He said, he backed her up right between those two doors. And he gave it to all she had. And when she fetched up, she leaned over and come free. And we hauled back. There's one bolt holding the door on. He was a hard man.
Wow.
Good fisherman, though.
Yeah.
The Gloucester fishermen, the guinea boats, they used to call him King. Topo, but King.
Really?
Yep. But he could catch fish.
Someone said that he pulled up a national airplane engine once.
Yes, we did. Was in the bag, tow up, and the top of the belly be ripped. We couldn't figure out why. I don't know how many times that happened. Like one time we hooked onto that airplane engine. Pretty near wrecked one of those winches, Marco winches, getting that son of a gun up. We got it up. And the propeller was out over like that. What we was towing right underneath it. So we got it aboard the boat. It didn't wreck the winch, but didn't do it any good. That engine still turned over.
Really?
Still turned over. We ended up, of course he built a log cabin up on North Branch. He ended up taking that up there and used it for an anchor for a boat. It's right down there. You know what Texas Road is?
Yeah.
Okay, get on that Texas Road, and he built a log cabin there. Of course he sold that, and it was right out in front of that log cabin where he dropped that anchor. He sold that. Amy Jones bought the fucky lady. He bought that down the Keys.
Oh.
One of those Keys, I don't remember which now. We brought that boat up. Oh, what a nightmare that was.
What's that?
No compass. Whose compass wasn't right. No GPS. And we ran out of gas. Off Carolinas. We had gas but didn't know how to transfer it. Fuel. It's called Coast Guard. Well, time the Coast Guard got there, we figured out how to transfer that fuel. They said, you follow us in. So we followed us in. They wanted to inspect the boat, life jackets, etc. Okay. We stayed up inland waterway. I said, Mabel, now these boys are on the wrong side. No, they need us. Okay. Our first thing we did, put her high and dry on standby.
Oh, no.
He put a right knock on her, bringing her off. I don't know why he didn't ruin that engine right there.
Wow.
And we came up through inland waterway. I think we stopped one night somewhere. And then we come out Chesapeake Bay. Now, mind you, nothing was working right. We said, we're going to head for the canal. Cape Cod Canal. We go, okay, Captain. By golly, we hit her on the button. So we dropped a couple guys up and picked their wives up. Now, Albert says, take the wheel, but you keep that land on the port side. I'm like, okay, Captain. Well, instead of going east northeast, I kept going down to the south. I said, something ain't right. So I called up. I said, Albert, we're inside the hook. We're not going the right direction. Well, he come up. She had a big cover on that engine. He stood that cover back and he put it right in the corner. Oh, she'd take water on top of her.
Wow.
Rough. How he made it off, I don't know. We must have been near Platte somewhere. And we run into another boat. Albert said, where in the hell am I? So he told us. So, okay, we knew somewhere near where we wanted to go. And we let her go for South Bristol. We made it pretty good. But that boat, it was a good boat, but it wasn't made for dragging. You know, he spent so much money on that boat trying to do different things. That was a downfall. Yeah, he tried to go Spanish trawling. He had Ray Poole come down and rebuild that boat. Just a whole lot of lines had to get down in the bottom. Of course, we're supposed to set that net out and spread her. And then haul her back. He said, why don't you try it? I said, Albert, I can go out here and catch 3,000 pounds of fish in 6 hours and be home. Now, why do I want to do anything else? He never made a cent with that. He did good with it, boat shrimping, fishing, you know. He never should have sold that Amy Joe. A lot of money was made with that size boat back then. You know, they was catching them swordfish up on Flemish Cap, off Newfoundland. A lot of money being made. Well, when he sold her, I think he still owed money on it. But he was a good fisherman. I was trying to think who bought it. I think Robbie Hughley bought it. And then he sold it to Hammond, Dana Hammond. And he did well with it, scalloping. And there was bound here, lost her somewhere, and she caught on fire. And she sunk. So she's off there someplace.
Yeah.
I got so I couldn't, my depth perception was so bad. I was crawling on my hands and knees from stern about the pile house in the dark, because I couldn't stand up.
Really?
In the daytime I was all right because I could get depth perception somewhere.
Yeah.
And then I got so I couldn't get through the drawbridge, so bang one side, bang the other. And then one day I come in and I run her up one side of a piling. I said, I guess it's time I got rid of it.
Yeah.
Before that, I was coming in one night and made that corner around the head, struck that ledge out there, dead low water. I've been over it 100 times, 1,000 times. Oh, Jesus. And I just had $20,000 worth of done on them. How I ruined the propeller, the shaft, part of the rudder, some of the keel. But I wasn't going to shovel those shrimp overboard. So next morning I had someone told me over the little gams, he hauled me out and he put a tarp down over her. I sent Robbie to Gloucester for getting new wheel, new shaft, and Linda went down and patched up the bottom of her. You know, wasn't no holes or nothing, just patched her up. I don't know, we was probably out 3 days. And he had us back in the water again.
Wow.
I was right to height the shrimping, you know. And that spring I hauled out again. Had a good job done on them. Insurance company paid, no problem. But when I asked Roy Lois afterwards, I said, would the insurance company be like that today? He said, no. No, he said, they wouldn't be like that today. I made a lot of money in that boat. We'll catch 10,000 pounds a day, gill netting, 10 cents. 10 cents a pound, sometimes 15. But that was a lot of money back then.
Yeah.
I have 3 men with me, gill netting. And I'm surprised I snap. I said, boys, you cost me money. Every time you snap that net, you're breaking a mess. Be a little more careful. Okay. Well, let me tell you about the first trip we took. All I had was one of them little guinea pumps. So I had 2 or 3 guys with me. Well, I hauled 10 nets north of the ledge, Cassie's Ledge, out there. And Jeffrey, southeast of Manhattan. Nothing. So I had another 20 nets on Jeffrey's Ledge. And we started hauling. Nothing but fish coming. Oh my good Lord. You couldn't believe the fish. When they come on those these, blowing, 25, 30. I said, boys, don't try to pick them. Just let them go. Oh, she was pretty well flattened with the fish. I said, I guess we'll make it home, boys. There's no choice, we're going to go. No, these, take them right across the, but we had so many fish aboard, but we just run right on. Oh, we finally got in. Next day, we're 10,000 dressed out.
Wow.
Yep. I fished that quite a while. Dogfish. Oh, my good Lord, you wouldn't believe the dogfish. And the boys said, why are we sitting right back here? Dogfish. I said, look, we got 10,000 good fish. we got to put up with the dogfish. God, I guess I fished there a month. I was the only person there. And when you went out there in the morning, you could see them herring up in the water. And they get down. And then you wouldn't see nothing. When you haul, be herring, mouth, every one of them fish in the guts.
Oh.
Many herring.
Ah.
Unbelievable.
Sounds like it.
Oh, it was rough and hell out. Well, I was out there in Amy Joe. Because Lynn Henry didn't need to be out. He had money enough. And I suppose what happened is, you had the boat full and you hauled back and had a net over the side towing it. I presume this is what happened. And she took away, and down she went. He had somebody with him.
Yeah.
I don't think they found Lynn or vice versa. I don't remember which. But he didn't need to be out. But money.
Remember what happened to the Terry and Vicky?
Well, you know, I think she got run down.
Really?
Yep. I think she got run down. By who, I don't know. But they was lying right in the path of where the big boats went back and forth.
Right.
Of course, they probably went to sleep. And that boat, whatever would hit them, I think that's what happened. Down she went. They got part of her up, a door or something, part of it. They got part of that up.
Oh, they did? Oh, I didn't know that.
So they knew where she was.
Yeah.
I was off there one night towing for scallops with a fish net, a shrimp net. The crew was sleeping. I thought I was awake. Maybe I wasn't, I don't know. Next thing I know, this light right into my pilot house window.
Really?
Coast Guard goat. So I went waved to them. And they looked me over and away they went.
Ah.
So we had a hole off there called Stan's Hole. Oh, scallops I took out of that hole.
Really?
Yep.
So how'd you learn all the marks and all that stuff?
Well, I wrote them down on a piece of paper. We had a little Rand C. And when I was towing, every 2 microseconds I'd write it down. So I knew where I was going all the time.
Right.
Of course, when we first started, all I had was a radar and fathometer, a compass. I'd steam off my time out, 1 hour.
Yeah.
I'd get Hagen and Banana opened up. And I'd set out, tow down, tow back. We thought I was doing something big. And then I got a scanner. Oh my goodness. I could tow all over the ocean
Yeah.
with that scanner. We fished 30 days straight. My wife said, we want a day off. We can't. We catch too many fish. I said, I'll give you 24 hours. You'll be back aboard the boat.
Huh.
And fog every day. You get in Pumpkin Point, be clear. From that out, it'll be just blue, thicker fog all the way. And try to find your buoy. I had number plates on the top of the buoy. Pole, trying to find them. Of course, wasn't the best radar in the world either back then. But I'd pick it up. Oh, that's back when I had a Loran A. And you had 2 signals. You had to keep walking back and forth to get those signals lined up.
Oh.
Sometimes you'd run up and you'd miss it. And you'd run back out again. And you steam back again. You'll find that buoy. Nothing like the equipment they have today. Electronics ruined the fishing business, you know.
Yeah. Well, I think it did.
Yep. And I wrote a letter to Commissioner, and Junior Herron took it up. I said, if you want to save the fish, this is what you got to do. Don't make any rollers any bigger than 9 inches and shorten the ground cable up.
Yeah.
Says, you save the fish. No, can't do that. Another time I called the commissioner. I said, these guys are going out here with this small mesh net on. They load the boat with codfish that big. Takes me all day to catch that many fish. I said, can't you put a moratorium in? Say, you got to have a big mescal in. No, not everybody wants it. It had to be too late.
Yeah, exactly. Too
And it was too late. I says, these fish are up in here in the bay, and they're spawning. Run it right out. I said, shut it down for a week. Or let those fish spawn. I mean, Greystone dabs like that, right full of spawn, running right out of them. Oh, we killed millions of them. I was when I was story I want to tell you about when I was a young fellow. You don't have to tape if you don't want to care. Al and I and Lawrence and a couple other guys, we had a double runner. Well, you know where Tanker Lane lived? Ray Rawlings' house?
Yeah.
We'd get water out the buckets and we'd water that hill all the way down. She'd froze solid.
You'd water it down, would you? Wow.
All the way down, we'd water and she'd freeze. I'm telling you, we'd get on that double runner, we'd go clear down Melhanners. Oh, wouldn't we go?
Because the trees, there were no extra trees on that at that point, were there?
No, there was one little few alders down at the bottom of that hill. So we cut them out the way. And then we'd take her down to Clark's Hill, down around the Huddle, Clark's Hill.
Yeah.
And we'd let her go down that hill and she'd go right around it. That turn, she'd go right around it.
Wow.
Oh, it was so much fun. Of course, we had to tow that double runner back up again. I remember one time Al, he stuck his tongue on his sled. Couldn't get it off. Oh, what works he had. I don't know, Russ. I guess it was just tough growing up. It was tough.
Yeah.
Well, you know, as I said, my grandmother, she got a little pension from I don't know what war it was in.
Right.
I suppose that's where she got it from. But she never got paid when she worked with these people, these men. She was housekeep. When she died, she had $30,000 in savings account.
Oh, really?
That's how frugal she was.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for her, sometimes we probably would starve to death.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, she was an awful good woman. She bought my first suit when I graduated.